Trading at Schwab is now powered by Ameritrade, giving you even more specialized support than ever before. Like access to the trade desk, our team of passionate traders ready to tackle anything from the most complex trading questions to a simple strategy gut check. Need assistance? No problem. Get 24/7 professional answers and live help, and access support by phone, email, and in-platform chat. That's how Schwab is here for you, to help you trade brilliantly. Learn more at schwab.com/trading.
Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump from the deep end of the pool, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. Paranoi Radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
I might need you to stay for the last 30 seconds. We're going to do another 30-second little skit. Ready? Testicles, 1, 2. Testicles. Welcome back to Paranoi Radio Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Trebles Garcia, your humble host. And I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today. And I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Guys, the most important thing that you could do for the show today is word of mouth. Check us out at paranoiradio.com. And guys, I'm going to jump right in. It is June. It is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I want to remind you that if you guys have been contemplating, entertaining the idea of suicide, don't. Live 10 more seconds. That's all it takes. 10 more seconds of life. Go to paranoiradio.com. You don't need to subscribe, like, or do nothing. Just click on the 24/7 Lifeline button and share your burden with somebody else and belong. We don't need no more weeping mothers, sisters, and brothers out there. We don't need no more family crime because you offed yourself, guys. We want you guys to live a full life. Now, also, make sure you check out Cryptid Warfare Operations. Guys, I don't get paid to say this. This guy is amazing. He'll give you the tactical unit response and guidelines to fight those critters that are killing your chickens and also slaughtering your cows. Make sure you check out Cryptid Warfare Operations. The description's on the show. And Ali Christine. Ali Christine's a beautiful soul. Ali Christine she sent me a care package of how to live parasitic free, and I did it, bro. Like, thank God I didn't see any parasites in my stool, but I have no more heartburn. I'm not bloated anymore. I don't have any more cravings for sugar. Guys, you gotta check out her stuff. Live healthy and make kids healthy again with Ali Christine. And guys, make sure you cook with zest and season your meat before you eat with flavors of the forest. Mad shout outs to Nelson. And now, guys, do not forget to drop a 5-star rating on podcast and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoyed making it. Okay, let's jump in from the deep in the pool and set the freaking mood. Please give a warm welcome to my next special guest. He is doing his rounds. He is the host of the Innerverse Podcast. If I'm butchering that up, I'm sorry. Please let me know how it is. Guys, give a warm welcome to Chance. What's up, Chance? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm quite entertained by how fast you talk. I'll try to keep up because I have plenty that I could talk about. So if I can get on your level speed-wise, we might. Yeah, don't turn this episode on ×2 speed, guys. You'll be lost.
Yo, it's funny because I listened to all of my episodes on double speed. Yo, but you know what, bro? You're amazing. You're doing your rounds. You're hardworking out there. You're kicking ass, dropping posts, dropping content, putting in the work. I'm humbled, and it's a privilege to have you on the show today and share my platform with you, bro. This is what it's about. I think networking and uplifting each other is one of the best parts of this journey. And when we make it to the top, because we will, and I see you there, bro, we're gonna be able to freaking hug each other, and rejoice and share some food and comments and laughs with each other. But today we're gonna be sharing the platform and some time. Please let them know where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, man. My stuff's at innerversepodcast.com. That's where you'll find links to all the channels where my podcast is available: YouTube, Substack, Patreon, Spotify, iTunes, the whole thing. And while you're there, check out the sound healing page. I'm a biofield tuner, and I work with clients one-on-one to help them balance their energy field. It's not like sitting in a yoga studio with singing bowls, although that's great. This is more like psychic acupuncture, where we go in and tweak your belief systems to help your mind and body be better flowing and connected, and it's really amazing. I've done lots of interviews about that, so we don't have to talk about that at length. I think
No. Tell me more. I always say life isn't about finding yourself, but about creating yourself. And I want to get this point of view. What is it that you do? You said psychedelic acupuncture?
It's like psychic, like psychic acupuncture. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in a nutshell, you have an energy field that your body sits right in the middle of. And when you really get to the true core essence of what this reality is, that it's a mental reality, that the physical is all stuff in your mind. So it is psychedelic in that sense. It's all in your head. Mm-hmm. Your body is in your mind. Your mind is not in your body. There's nowhere in your body where your mind lives, right? So this field, you can call it electromagnetic, you can call it plasma, bioplasma, however you want to interpret this. It's measurable. We have this energy field. And within that is information, memory, emotion, beliefs. Basically, those things are configured in such a way that where they're limiting or repressed, it reduces the fullness of flow of that energy field. And there's an anatomy to your energy field. Where energy is at in that field, left, right, up, down, forward, back, has specific information that's consistent from person to person. Like people's right hip usually carries the, if there's offset energy there that's not in balance, it carries the vibe of, I have to work myself to exhaustion or depletion, or I'm not good enough. That kind of like guilt-driven overdoing it. Or the left shoulder has to do with taking on other people's negative energy or having stuck personal sadness and grief. And this is consistent for everybody. And when I'm using my tuning forks, waving them around in my living room, we're on a Zoom call, I can find where the stuck energy is at, where it's at in relationship to the body, like distance away tells me how old you were when the energy got stuck there, or the experience that caused it, or the belief was formed. So in a nutshell, I might be able to just whip out a tuning fork, swing it through the space around your body that I'm using. I'm putting you on my table with my imagination holographically. And I'll say, hey, how about 22 years old? Did you get in a car wreck and lose a lot of blood? And I'll be able to get that information out of your energy field. Sometimes more specific, sometimes more general, but really then you're going to remember something from that age, from that time, from that type of experience. And then we're going to dig deeper and find out where the pattern is at and how that pattern is replaying in your life still, so that we can eliminate it and get you back into a feeling of full flow, full trust with life and with yourself, and the highest potential that you can have. So clients always report feeling lighter after they've finished a session. Usually they have more personal vitality available. And in the case of chronic health issues or recent surprise health problems that they haven't been able to figure out conventionally, we often can figure out what the mental aspect of that is and resolve it right away. And the results, no guarantees, but anything's possible. It's always good when you get a session. Sometimes we might need to take more than one swing at it, work around the issue for more than one session, but all kinds of stuff happens. You're talking about your parasite cleanse. I've seen many clients have their entire gut biome shift after a tuning session.
Get out.
Yeah. So they don't even take they don't even take probiotics or anything. And after the session, they have different food cravings and aversions on a healthier level, or they can digest stuff that used to give them serious problems.
Wow. Make sure you check them out, guys. I had is it almost, I'm confusing the two. I'm sure I am confusing the two. Reiki healing. It's not the same, right?
It is not the same, but it is in the same ballpark.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I said, when I liken it to psychic acupuncture, it's because things like Reiki or sound baths, singing bowls, things like that, you're kind of just getting washed over with frequencies or positive energy, and that has a good effect on you for sure. And there's nothing wrong with it. But with biofield tuning, we're like pinpointing where the stuck thing is in your mind or in your emotional body, going straight to it, exactly when it happened, how it got there. And then we're giving you a free will choice to change that thing that was like subconsciously affecting you. So it's way more like surgical and precise.
I love it. I've mentioned this on the show before. The ancient Egyptians, those when they were entombed and they were holding onto those tools, they weren't just tools, bro. They were tuning forks. They were used to vibrate frequency and make sure they were transcending into the next level, right? And I would say almost in tune with their biometrics. What do you use to open up your phone, to open up apps?
I like these. These are the same as like the Pharaoh rods you're talking about. I got a copper for the right and a zinc for the left. And you can just hold them in each hand, or I like to just keep them in the pocket.
That's what I'm holding. I always
big piece of labradite there, bro. That's nice.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I was gifted some stones, like the ones you were behind your thing a long time ago by a Reiki healer. And then my buddy, he does algo. What's this called? He gave me this pyramid for creativity. He gives
Organite.
It's Organite. There we go. That's his name, Organite, and his name is Oregon because he lives in Oregon and in Night.
Oh yeah,
he's an amazing
Isaac. I know
human
that,
being.
homie.
Yeah, Isaac.
I've tuned to that guy.
Really, he's amazing, bro. He's a cool dude, bro. Young cat. I love.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah. Inspiring for the youngins to be, on the level like that. And
On
yeah,
the
when I'm
level,
doing
bro.
tunings, I have like a table set up with all the crystals. And I build the crystals into the shape of a body using the appropriate crystals for the different energy centers and parts of the body. And then I work on that like it was them, the person I'm talking to. And all the forks react as if they were in the room. So it works.
Wow. Frequency is a radio tune, and it's also a weapon. If you guys misuse it, it's very important. Thank you again for sharing all that stuff, and kudos to you, and mad shout outs to Organite, Isaac, everybody around that's practicing those arts and liberating people and making sure that people live a little bit more uplifted. Again, like I said in the beginning of the show, and lighter, and finding themselves and being creators instead of spectators. Yo, today you have a topic. Let me pull out my notes. How rude of me. You said, I seen on your one of your recent posts, you had an episode regarding financial ritual magic. Whoa, good stuff, man. Talk to me.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine named Brandon Sterling. He is like a turncoat financial industry trading insider. He's done that his whole adult life. He's a pretty young guy, actually, but successful at it. He knows the secrets, and he's just recently launched a course to teach people how to start a business trading.
I love it.
I was like, okay, well, if we're going to bring this onto my show, I need to take it to an occult level, because he was already likening his process to a form of alchemy, like alchemizing time into wealth. And I was like, dude, you don't even know how correct you are about how that's alchemy. And, he's not as well versed in those esoteric subjects, although he's a great dude and very knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. So he gives me his presentation, and then I cross-reference it against one of my favorite books, Money Grows on the Tree of Knowledge by Tracy Twyman.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was mind blown, because I didn't know much about trading. But once I started to get the handle on like the trading vernacular and the process, the different parts of it, I was like, this is alchemy AF. So yeah, and I still have notes about that. I've got actually bigger notes than what I was able to share in my talk with him. But money is literally a encapsulated ritual sacrifice. It's a symbolic ritual sacrifice, and it always has been. Lead into gold in alchemy is the same as time, turning time into capital in the modern sense. Lead and time being both Saturnian. We can go deeper on any of these subjects. I'm kind of giving you the top-down overview. And then it has a lot to do with time, actually, as a engine of extraction of life force. And our misunderstanding of what time is, that there's more than one kind of time, is what separates the people who are having their life force extracted by this economy from the people who are profiting and like extracting the gold from the people. We could talk about ancient temple coins, the specifics of trading, like derivatives type contracts, hedging, how that relates to atonement magic. We could talk about the spellcraft of money velocity and how the gates are opened or closed on the actual speed of how the economy is flowing. There's so much to it.
Let's filter this. I'm gonna be the bottleneck on this one. You said, first of all, ancient coins.
Ancient coins, yeah. Like,
I'd love to get into that, and then the specifics on the trading, how it doesn't make it magical. I understand, and the reason I'm saying this is because you're probably gonna pick up after this, and then just lead on. The reason I'm saying this is because I know for a fact they close the market, they open the market in specific days, and when the moon is full, they have bigger leads. I want to say to move money, move your time, and specific people, and control your people. This is why the bank opens at 3 a.m. in the morning at PST. where I'm at, and I wake up at 3 every day to go to work. I open my shop. So I walk in at 4 in the morning. I'm already there. By the time everybody's waking up, I'm awake with the East Coast. The point is, all of this is it's transcendence. They rob you from your time that you don't even know how to. You can't even collect rainwater legally in California because it's a freaking felony. They're robbing you from. They're telling you when you have to eat breakfast, when you have to go take a dump, when you have to check in, clock in, collect, charge, and then pay your rent. So everything is a collective of collecting your time, if it makes any sense. But the transaction of energy, or what it takes to manufacture money so that you can live and survive in that same hamster wheel, is also part of the magic. This is just a broad point of view of mine, right? Get me? But what is that, bro? The coins of the ancients? So this is ancient stuff, huh?
Yeah, none of this is new. So I'll just start going through some stuff, and you stop me if you have a specific question.
Randomize that. We used to have this segment on the show called the randomizing machine. Just hit the randomizing machine and just hashtag look it up, everybody. Don't take my word for it. Make sure you check him out, and then take 5 seconds of your day to go to the search bar and stop searching ass on TikTok and just go search stuff that's gonna uplift you. Yeah,
okay, man. Well, first of all, people are probably not aware of what the origin of money actually is. They think maybe people invented money so that they could trade more easily as a store of value. But actually, that's not where money started. That's what money became, but it was something else. It was originally ritual offerings are where coins came from. So in the same sense, and we'll get there, every dollar is actually a receipt of a sacrifice. And that's not changed. But if you go back to the ancient world, the ancient priesthood, which kind of ran everything, coins were minted in the temple, and then they were given as a receipt for whenever you made an offering of, like, you gave them some wheat or you gave them a goat to sacrifice. The word shekel actually meant a bushel of wheat. So temples were handing out these coins, and then you would trade that coin for some kind of temple service, like you wanted divination, or you wanted them to pray for the gods to not destroy your farm with a flood or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so even in the same sense, like just the way that we can, the death, right? Death and debt, people equate those things, or like the word mortgage is a death pledge. The word finance comes from the old French word finir, which means to end, or to the settling of a debt. So, there's definitely all of this idea of debt and sin baked in to our financial system because it came from the priesthood originally. Even like bonds, right? People trade stocks and bonds. Those are words for slaves, right? Like you're in the stocks. Like they put you in the stocks if you were a bad slave, and they whip you. They're like, there's no. A bond was a tenant farmer or a serf in the old feudal system. Obviously, bonds are still implying being tied or tied down, right? So now we sacrifice our time instead of goats to get these coins, but it's still kind of it's still a sacrifice. And the modern dollar every dollar is created with debt attached to it, right? Like when the fiat system was created, it was completely different than having a note that was exchangeable for gold, like a piece of paper. Now there's every dollar that's created by the Fed. This was like the first thing that woke me up to conspiracy. So maybe that's why, back in college, maybe this is why it's a topic that is still dear to me. But when I found out that every dollar created was loaned to the U.S. government with interest, and that there was always more debt because of this interest-based loan in the economy than there was dollars to pay the debt, I was like, what? Wait, so every time they get on the news and they're like, the national debt is skyrocketing. The national deficit, it's going through the roof. We got to get that debt down. Yeah, but you can't. The money that's being used to pay the debt comes with interest attached to it. It's musical chairs. There's never as much money in the system as there is money owed to the system. So it's a hilarious joke. And anyway, these coins, back in the ancient world, there was never a coin that was struck without a god or gods on it. And the modern coins still have our national deities that represent our mythology of our countries, right? Presidents that are basically godlike in the in the storyline of the origin of the nation, possibly even mostly mythological stories about our founding fathers, to be honest, for all we know. But as we, okay, so where do you want me to go from here? Because I could go in a lot of places.
Let your gut tell you where. Because at the end of the day, this message is huge, and we're probably not going to get to all of them.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so I'll go fast.
Emotion, bro.
Okay, so modern finance is literally perfect alchemy, because instead of that old concept, which I think was probably always an allegory to begin with, of turning lead to gold, now they're turning time into value, or imagination into value. Money in our system is basically ex nihilo. Like, it's value that's created out of literally thin air, out of imagination. Or at least that's what it looks like. But the truth is, the value is coming from your time, people in the system. So even though at a first glance it's like they're just putting like whenever they loan somebody, you pay with a credit card. Numbers are just created on a digital system. They come out of nowhere. And so it's almost like value is being invented out of nothing. But it's not out of nothing. It's your this capital is the crystallization of your labor that is measured over time. And in alchemy, time is symbolized by lead, which is Saturn, who is, Big Daddy Saturn, Papa Satan, however you want to. People have an idea about that. Not that Saturn is itself an evil force. It's part of just what brings structure as an archetype into our realm. And that's important. We need that. But yeah, it's, this is the Black Cube cult for sure. Like they really love their Saturn because they're getting so much out of everyone else's time. So in trading, for example, like modern financial trading, they're turning this lead into gold or profit, and basically through ritual conversion of uncertainty into value, which they do by staying directionally agnostic to the market. Meaning, just like the central pillar of every great teaching of being in the middle path, that the alchemical gold is like, the blending of opposites. Traders that are like wise, they're not bullish or bearish. They're not stuck on polarity, but they are making money on markets going up and down. They're engineering, in some levels, they're engineering certain black swan events to be ready for stuff to go up or down.
We've seen that before.
Yeah.
Word.
So many times. So in traditional societies of the ancient world, the value of objects was rooted in the essence of those objects, like the craftsman that made it, the craftsman stamp that was on it. But now where value is being derived in like this Kali Yuga is about units, hours, digits on a screen. It's like it's a very quantitative instead of qualitative system. And when we talk about the money being like an alchemical sacrifice, it's because when we talk about debt, we're talking about something we're selling out from the future, in a sense. Like, I'll pay you later. My wife likes to talk about how, like, if you leave a chore undone, then, you're basically selling out future self. Like, you want to leave that.
She's got it down.
Got it down. It's so true. It's so true. So if every dollar in our system is coming from a debt-based place, and people are constantly taking out further debt, loans, credit, etc., and literally every time you use your credit card, you're adding inflation to the system because that money is being created out of nothing. Then we're selling out not just our future self, but also like our children, because they're going to have to suffer the consequences in the future. When you look at charts of like the S&P 500, or how much stock in the S&P 500 someone's wages could buy, like on a hour, like a year's wages, how much stock they could buy with that, or whatever, however you want to metric that. The chart from like the 60s to now, how much you could buy is like boom, just plummeting. And I think we all probably noticed this, especially your age, my age, the kind of things our parents could do with like a single income family.
Word, 100%. I remember, if I may interject, I remember when my parents used to put money away. If they had $10,000 in the bank, $10,000 in the bank today does not buy you the same thing that we had before. And they're still collecting interest on that. And they're still lending your same money to everybody else. It's really interesting how it goes. They're robbing you not only from your time, taxed, and then putting into your savings, because $10,000, what $10,000 could have bought you in the 1970s cannot buy you in 2025. It's not the same power. It doesn't have the same power. It's actually chopped off almost by 40%.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. Yeah.
Well, but also, yeah. It's just ridiculous. It's not just the inflation, but also it's how disproportionate the amount that wages have not gone up versus how much money has inflated. So the average person's, what chunk of someone's yearly income buying a car would be or buying a house would be now versus the 80s or 70s or 60s, it's not even close. It's not even close. And like you brought up a men's mental health awareness month or whatever, and the main thing that causes men to commit suicide is when they realize that they've lost their equity, like that what they've worked for a long time fizzles out, or they lose all of their progress in some sense. That is the number one cause for men to commit suicide, is lost equity. And this system is constantly just robbing people's equity out from under them. And that's why I thought, it's actually, even though it's not this sweetest topic in terms of fun to discuss, to have this guy on to talk about trading and teaching people to do it, I thought, well, this could save someone's life, because when you think about it, because trading is basically Neo in the Matrix, if you know how to do it. You're no longer the one who's getting their time stolen, essentially, or their life force extracted as they give up their time. You're reading the Matrix code. You're creating your own wealth out of the system. And that's the thing. It's like, it's a system, so it is itself amoral. It's just a question of, it's just a knowledge differential. That's all the occult ever was. That's all magic ever was, in a sense, is just understanding of universal psychology. And when you realize, it makes it more interesting when you realize that even markets, things that seem so artificial, are themselves an expression of universal law, the human or collective universal psyche, which operates on the principles of alchemy, just like every other creative process in nature. Once you see that, it might make it a little more interesting to get involved, actually. And that framework, if you learned it elsewhere, or you can take it elsewhere, it's like it applies across the board. But so when I'm talking about youth being sacrificed, in a lot of old alchemical illustrations, they'll show Saturn and Hermes, or Mercury, and Saturn is cutting off Hermes' legs at the knees.
Word.
And what is that? What is that about? Well, it's about how in an alchemical process, the Mercury element is sacrificed for the alchemical, completion of the work. And in the same sense, our current system is all about Kronos, or Saturn, devouring his offspring to stay on top, devouring Mercury.
Yes.
There, like what the economy is constantly thriving off of and cannibalizing is youth, attention, and creativity and innovation, which are all very mercurial aspects. So at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing to realize about how time is operating in our realm is that linear time, as we have been taught it, is actually the illusion. The traditional cultures understood cyclical time, sacred time, and they had even more than one word for different ways of perceiving time. And one of my favorite authors, Rene Guénon, he's written a book back in the early 20th century called The Reign of Quantity and the Signs of the Times, where he discusses how quantity and quality are the two sort of poles that oscillate to create the cyclical turning of the big wheel of time, the ages or the yugas. And that in our current age, the Kali Yuga or the Iron Age, what has happened is people have flipped or inverted their perception of the flow of quality and quantity. Basically, you know, in a nutshell, because it's such a big argument, really awesome book, he discusses how modern science believes that quantity or matter, you can equate quantity with physical substance, right? Something measurable, is where quality comes from. So like a piece of a chemical or rock, that it's the physical makeup of that thing that gives it the quality that it has. And, you know, at a sort of first glance, especially the way we've been taught, that seems to make sense. But the truth is, and the ancients understood in previous ages, that it's actually metaphysical essential qualities that condense into physical forms or physical matter. So the quality itself existed before the physical stuff. I know that may sound counterintuitive to people, maybe not. I don't know. But essentially in our current system, we've gotten to a point where, you know, part of that quantity quality polarity also has to do with the difference between time and space, because time is the quantitative element and space is the qualitative element. Like right here is different than over there. You know what I mean? But time, like 1 second is 1 second is 1 second in a sense. And so as we're going further into the Kali Yuga, the spatial element is being eaten by the time, you know, and that's back to Mercury. Mercury was a god of like traveling and messenger. So he's like moving around, he's spatial. And the world is seeming to be shrunk by our descent into this Iron Age, right? Until the point where eventually I think there'll be a big flip over again, or some kind of, you know, one person at a time awakening to the fact that the linear time or the Chronos time is fake. And I want to bring this back to trading real quick. Like there's this word in Greek, kairos, which is almost the exact same word as Kyrios, which is the word used for the Lord in the Bible or Jesus. It's also ancient Persian word for the sun. Now, this word kairos in ancient Greek, it meant subjective time or like opportune timing, right? So it's all about, I liken it, the way I like to describe kairos as a philosophy of time, is it's the timing of synchronicity. It's the right place at the right time sort of experience of the flow of time. And it's also to do with like when you are in the right place in the right time, the speed that time seems to be moving no longer feels like a burden or a problem. Like time isn't dragging, but it's also like you have plenty of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like this right feeling of time. And I think we've all been there. Like you go to your 9 to 5 and the way time feels there as you're on the hamster wheel of repetitive linear time, doing the same thing every day. The time there feels somehow at the same day. You're like, I'm here forever and I never have enough time to get it all done. You know what I mean? It's like both. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. But then like, what if you go spend a week on vacation, or you like go to a badass music festival for 3 days or something? And like that 3 days will feel like subjectively to you, like you were gone a month. So much will happen. You'll feel like you had, you know, if you really reflect on this, the amount of time you have the amount of time you feel like you have in a day is subjective, based on more or less like how aligned with your purpose you are and how much you're growing as a soul. And if you're in a place of like growing as a soul and doing what you're authentically called to do in this life, like on a spiritual level, then your experience of the flow of time is radically different than when you're on the hamster wheel of doing something you hate that you feel like you have to do like a slave. So that's Kairos versus Chronos. Chronos is the hamster wheel. Same thing every day. Time is linear, and you never have enough of it, but it's always running out. but also you feel like it's dragging on and you're trapped in it. It's like nothing changes. And then Kairos is right place, right time, synchronicity. You're growing, you're flowing. Time is expansive. You feel like you have plenty of it, but you don't feel stuck or trapped in any one moment either. It's just like complete polar opposites. Traders use Kairos. Like the high level magician traders are not in the Chronos lifestyle. They're not, they're not clocking in. They're not on a hamster wheel. They're not doing the same thing every day. They are in the right place at the right time and make the right call trading wise, aligned with, what's going on in the world and in the universe. And they hit that with synchronicity, and then they extract wealth from this big system. So like not just important for your own life and welfare to know that there's more than one kind of time, and to at least knowing that you can start to try to navigate your, realize that there's legitimately a good reason to get yourself out of the 9 to 5. that whole survival level threat that I have to do this or I won't eat or I won't pay my bills or whatever, that in the Bible, Jesus is like, you think you're different than these birds that my father made sure that they've got enough food to find every day easily? Like to trust that you're supported by everything in this entire realm was created for you to thrive in, right? And then that's getting into Kairos time, where you're like, whether by gift and by miracle or by the sweat of my own brow, like I will have enough, I will survive, my family will make it. I reject the need to be a slave to this system out of just the fear that I have to.
Whoa.
And like that's you getting into Kairos, is like realizing, okay, if I drop out of this hamster wheel, I will flow into synchronicity. And I think every entrepreneur, self-employed person has experienced this, where it's like, okay, I don't know, I've got just enough work to stay busy, or I do have a good amount of work, but like I don't know about next month. But as soon as you take the opportunities that have shown up to you, like the next ones come. But if you stall and you don't stay in flow of what you're here to do, new opportunities dry up, right? But like if you do the ones that are in front of you, do the quest that is the life is offering you, God's given you, the next one shows up. And it's a flow. They just chain together like that. And you don't get to know the whole thing from start to finish. It's just like it's a work of art. You just do the next brush stroke. You don't know exactly every step from here to the completion of that masterpiece, but you just keep doing things, whereas the security need of like the fear in the debt lifestyle is that, well, no matter what, I know that I can keep coming back to this coal mine and keep slowly dying, but they'll give me the same paycheck consistently every time. So like I hope people are getting that, because it's like you can get out of the Chronos hamster wheel, but there's no guarantees, man. It's a leap of faith. You have to take the leap of faith, but there's a million ways that you could set yourself up and start on some path that is a leap of faith, where synchronicity can start to show up and support you, or if you don't want to call it synchronicity, call it God's divine blessings, because that's what synchronicity is. But that's why I want people to know about that they don't have to stay on that rat race, dude.
I have to amplify your message, bro. This is, if for the terms of people out there listening that don't and almost live check to check, guys, this is like getting that $200 loan me because you paid all your bills and you need $200. So you go to the check and cash place, Western Union, whatever it's called, and you get $200 more, and they're going to take it out of your next check. And so it keeps taking out of your next check. So you keep going back to get $200 back. It's the same freaking thing. It's the hamster wheel. You keep thinking that you're secure because he could give you $200. And I'm putting it on a scale for people to understand around, not only in the suburbs, but everybody to understand. I know, I don't know where you come from, but I can tell you this. I lived check to check. I've lived before that, and this has happened before, where I've been in a freaking podcast and we've connected so deeply, and I'm just in a conversation, and we've got out so much information in the past 40 to 50 minutes. The time lapsed. I feel like I just started. And it was that brushstroke, like you said. You just keep doing it, and then you're putting the pieces together because you tapped into that other synchronicity. Not only because it brings joy, but you're also bringing joy to other people. You are part of that synchronicity, that organic algorithm. It's beautiful, bro. I have to admit, probably sometimes I've tapped into it, and the listeners have too, probably. It's amazing, bro. Yeah.
It's been 45 minutes already. I do like 3-hour podcasts often, so I feel like I just blinked.
You just blinked, bro. So tapping into that, I want to get a little in the next 15, 20 minutes. I want to get more intimate with you. Have you tapped into that? And I'm not talking about financially. Forget the money part. Jump into the emotional part. Have you gotten to the point where you said, what's it called? Cairo time?
Kairos.
That's the name of the episode. Subjective time. That's the name of the episode, by the way. Have you tapped into it while creating to say, wow, that once you shut down the computer and all this electronics, you were like still jiving?
Yeah, dude. I'm on Kairos right now, and we're on computers. Kairos is okay. So for me, it was like the point where, because I spent years trying to do a podcast as a side hustle, right? And long story short, eventually I did find out about biofield tuning, which is what I do for clients now, and started doing it on myself using a weighted tuning fork to work on. When I learned about it from Eileen Day McCusick, she has a book called Tuning the Human Biofield. I read this book. I heard her on a couple podcasts. Got one of the forks that she sells. I had this left shoulder injury that would never go away. And like I couldn't even raise my arm over my head. It was such a bad, it was like stuck right here. And, I thought it was from rock climbing. It wouldn't go away. I would just take time off. So I got this fork, started using it on the left shoulder, and it got better in days. It was like almost instantly better. And the next thing I know, like literally within a week or two, I'm separated from my wife. And, then it was over. And I didn't understand until after the fact. I could put two and two together. I was like, wait a minute. My relationship with my ex-wife was based on my life's pattern up to that point of perceiving whoever my romantic partner was as like a kind of mean, narcissistic, vampiric person, that I was a really good guy for being a sensitive empath and putting up with and trying to help. Right. So I was in this dynamic of sensitive empath victimized by mean narcissist. And I'm not saying that that's who she was. I am not saying that's who she was.
Complete opposites. Yep.
I'm not. And actually what I will say is that as the man, you are the one setting the bar for what the relationship is. And so, I was basically casting her in that role, and it was hurting her, I think. But then, she was playing the part, as our wives do. They play the part we assign them in a lot of senses. So that relationship is over. That had everything to do with the left shoulder, being sensitive to take on negative energy from the other people and the world. That was what my left shoulder was stuck on, was this victim, empath, narcissist cycle. Broke that. She's doing way better. She's happier than ever. We're still on friends terms. Everything's great. We both have families now. Like our relationship, not fruitful, no kids. Now me and her are in different relationships, both have beautiful daughters. So like everybody wins by this. But what happened is I healed the shoulder injury with frequency, and the external life situation and mindset that was creating that life situation, both were gone. They both changed almost overnight. And I was like, wow, okay, there's something major to this. It was body, it was life situation, long lifetime pattern that I never noticed before, but was there in every previous relationship, right? So I knew that there was definitely something to this tuning stuff and the anatomy of the biofield, like what stuff means and what injuries in different parts of the body mean. So I kept studying it and started practicing on friends here and there. But I was also at that time still working at a 9-to-5 and trying to podcast as a side hustle.
Word.
I've been doing it for years. So I was like experienced. I was pretty good. Like my shows had gotten good. But I was still in this Chronos experience of life, and it was not fun. It was not fun at all. But then I met my current wife, and she like came to visit me for a couple of weeks, and we were like having so much fun. And in that couple of weeks, I just didn't go to work. I just didn't go to that other job. And I was working for my parents, so I had the luxury to like take time off if I really wanted. And I realized those couple of weeks felt so expansive, like felt like months of time. I was like a different man after just being out of the circuit of clocking in.
The circuit.
And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. So I quit. I quit going. I finished that job up. I mean, not like I did 2 weeks, right? Like 2 weeks notice. So I was respectable about it. But then I started offering to my audience, we could do biofield tuning sessions. You know, I started off at a really low price point so I could build up experience, and graciously, lots of my audience took me up on that. And, you know, God's will and blessings and part of that synchronicity that is the divine plan that supports you when you get off Chronos and start following Kairos, the Lord, which is the same as the word, literally Kairos, Kyrios, is almost the exact same word that the Greek New Testament uses for Jesus Christ. So just think about that. Like, are you following Saturn or are you following Jesus Christ, essentially? Who is mythologically Mercury. So it's like Mercury, Saturn. Which is it? Mutable, fixed. Anyway, what I mean by like the synchronicity blessing about that is that when it's scary to take that leap of faith. Scary. Like, am I going to pay for my stuff? You know,
especially when you're used to it, right? You're used to that Chronos type of lifestyle.
Yeah. And that income, like that consistent income that comes with it. Right. Mm-hmm. And what happened though, is that the people that came to me for tuning sessions, exactly the situations that I was ready and able to help with and not over my head are the ones that came to me. So it was always mutually beneficial, worthwhile. I built up experience. I learned a lot. You know, you can take courses to be certified in this. I just figured it out myself. But I'm good friends with the woman who created this modality. So I feel like I have like an unofficial honorary degree. You know, she's been on my podcast a bunch of times. And, you know, I just kept it going and eventually was able to be confident enough in how successful these sessions were for people and the demand that, you know, I matched the asking price to what I need as like to support myself and now my family. And that's the other secret to this leap of faith as an artist, a creative person, healer, entrepreneur, self-employed, whatever. It's like you want to give it all away for free. You feel bad charging people, you know, you think no one will want it if you ask for too much, but actually you're doing everybody a disservice if you undercharge yourself and them, especially in healing, because they like them making an investment to the process is part of what gives them a strong belief and desire and commitment to make the change. And that's huge. Like, I can't tell you how many times somebody sends me the $250 and then we get on the session a few weeks later, cause there's like kind of a waiting list. And, they're like, yeah, I wanted to work on quitting vaping, but after I signed up for the session, I already quit. And I'm like, yeah, it's because you made the decision that you're going to do it, right? And then you took a step, took an action, you bought a session, you know, like it's really, I'm not doing anything to anybody. I'm guiding them through something they're doing for themselves. And
the push, you're that push off the ledge.
Something like that. So my point is, whatever the process, whatever your path is in Kairos is to trust. It's really important to trust that the wind you need to fly, or in your sails or whatever, God's wind, you know, is going to show up when and how you need it. And you're not always going to know. Sometimes you're going to wonder, but it's always going to show up. And that's up to you. You have to trust that. Like, do you trust that and flow with it? Or do you fear, right? Do you fear and go back to the sure thing as a slave? That's what keeps people in the slavery mentality, is it's a sure thing. You know, you get three hots and a cot in jail. Some people go back to jail just for that, right? Either way, like this realm, this world we're in, you can do either choice, and it's up to you. I hope that makes sense to people. Like there's no point in the Kairos life where it isn't a little scary. The point, like, it's just a leap of faith. There's no secret to succeeding. It's a leap of faith, and you will be supported in it. And if you have to learn some lessons to stay in that flow, you will, and you'll be given the lessons at the speed and frequency that you're ready for them. And especially if it's about helping other people, the people that need what you can give are the ones that are going to show up. And you'll learn as you go. And then eventually you'll be able to handle higher level problems. But the higher level problems you're not ready for, they're not going to show up before you're ready for them. And if maybe the off one or two does, then you can turn it down. But it never happened for me that way. I was never over my head. I was always exactly where, like, what I could handle would show up. And I know lots of other, like, healers, creative types that would say the same thing. So hopefully that helps somebody out there. Like, there's no secret. Leap of faith. Let's jump. Let's go.
Make sure you take the time of day to check out the Innerverse podcast with Chance. Yo, you killed it, bro. That was an amazing episode, bro. I resonate with it. Because sometimes I even consider myself, like, this is my side hustle, bro. I do this. But right now, my wife and kids are out for vacation. And I wasn't able to go because of debt. Because if I take this vacation, it was going to add on to that debt where I could produce more and then also invest 2 to 3 episodes daily to the show. So I was like, you know what? This is the opportunity I need to grind out what I need to grind out with the show. But at the same time, when I go, she's in El Salvador because she's Salvadorian, by the way. When I go to El Salvador and I see all the green and breathe all the air, time passes so beautifully and slow. And I'm like eating the food and the sounds. And it's just the grounding part. And when it gets hot and it rains and it's humid and I could take a bite out of the air and I'm like...
It's electric. It's like...
It's electric.
All of it is feeding and nourishing you, the whole thing.
And then I'm away from...
And the grind, all of it is eating you.
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
So then I'm like... No, I'm not complaining about the show. I loved it. If it wasn't for this mic and tonight... And all the episodes, if it wasn't for podcasting, I probably wouldn't be the sober father that I am today. But vacation and just grounding and living in the other side of town and the other side of that time, like you said, it's beautiful, bro. I've only tasted it. I haven't dove head deep into it yet.
You're getting,
and I encourage it. I will get there. You know what?
Now you have this mental framework for what it is. And like that's a huge guide, that's a scaffolding you can ascend on.
I really do believe it. I believe it with everything I got. I believe it. It's going to get there. And if I keep grinding, you never know. I'll be able to uplift others. That's the most important part of this show. Yo, I want you to let the people know where they can find you one more time.
Yeah, innerversepodcast.com. I'm on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Just launched a Substack, which is pretty sweet. The podcast side of things, I do pretty kind of standard issue format. Episodes are interview format, 1 hour free, 1 hour for subscribers. And I just started a brand new show called Inner Circle, which is just for members only. And it's a solo podcast, which I've never done before. So it's kind of like getting me out of my comfort zone. But it's weekly episodes where I can talk about things I'm learning from biofield tuning insights, herbalism studies, other podcast research, because I realized there's so much that I'm taking in and insights I'm gaining all the time that are either I'm trying to like force it into an interview show that is not really about me and maybe I'm taking too much time to do that, or it's just getting lost and not transmitted. So now I'm doing these solo casts where all of that good stuff weekly is going to get straight to you members. And also I'll take, questions and topics from members as well that they might want me to talk about. So, that's the new thing I'm really excited about. But check out some of the newest episodes. I've been doing pretty crazy stuff with AI lately, making original music, putting a lot of time into that. Original music for each episode that's like based on the content of the episode. particularly the one that kind of inspired our talk today with Brandon Sterling about alchemizing time into wealth. The song I made for that, I called it Alconomics. It is so good. So good. Go listen to that. That will get you going. Check it out.
Make sure you check them out, guys. All the links are going to be in the description of the show. I want to thank you again for sharing the time, donating your efforts and all your wisdom onto the show today, guys. And you know what would be great if you guys drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, on the Innerverse Podcast, and on Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts, and on Paranoi Radio. Because, guys, at the end of the day, we are the hub for conspiracy theories and beyond and all the spiritual stuff. I'm glad that you were here today. I want to thank you again one last time. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check them out. It's going to be in the description of the show. Do not stop to share the show, guys. Like and subscribe. That freaking YouTube channel is finally catching some traction. I don't like YouTube, but guys, this is the tools that I have to use to bring forth all the information so that you guys can feel comfortable on your own platform that already comes with the phone, blah, blah, blah. Because you guys are all lazy and can't even do 5 seconds of research on the freaking search bar. You just want to be fed the information on TikTok, watching ass all day. I'm just saying. Guys, I'm bashing on you guys, but for real, check us out. And also, do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace. Thank you, bro. That was amazing, dude.